Okay, we're recording now. And let's see. Okay, so I'll kind of just restate what I was just stating. And all right, so when you're thinking about the out of phase, we're going to be going over out of phasing the ISD and the MC75 at higher levels of play. You're going to be dealing with the shield gens, however you want to do that, whether it's disable, 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 destroy, destroy, destroy. As soon as those shields go down, you basically want to be going into your roles as far as prepping the out of phase. At higher levels of play, you're typically going to see only about a half phase to destroy the flagship. By the time you get the shield generators down, it takes a while to get to the shield gens. Your flex are likely going to take pressure, so that's something that a lot of people have adapted to now. So how you take down the shield generators is something we can talk about now if you want to. Ideally, of course, it wants to be both of your flex either disabling, or if they want to double up on one, to disable one, and then everyone else dogpile the other one to destroy, whether it's the bombers or, they do a pass or whatever. Or if it's, the support that does disable one while the flex double dunk the other one. However you do it, just keep practicing that and practice other scenarios in which you might be missing a player or two going into that attack, because that does happen. Sometimes your flex will go down, sometimes your support goes down. You need to be able to think on your feet or have a backup plan should. Go ahead.
That's not really the topic of today, but what would be your suggestion for best practicing flagship?
Yeah. So SOP for at least randos is that the flexes and support are going in to disable the shield generators, and the bombers are backing them up. Basically, the bombers are coming in last in order to shoot at any attackers. Typically, it's the enemy flex that are pressuring your flex or your support. So your bombers are kind of the backline that is kind of shooting at those defenders or shooting at those X-Wings. You really don't have to worry about X-Wings actually too much, because they can't really catch defenders. They could maybe catch a TIE fighter, but a TIE fighter can outrun them. So I would say it's more for the ISD attack that your Y-Wings want to, practice shooting at those defenders that are on either your flex or your support. So if the support goes down, you don't have marks. Your flex want to double up on a shield generator. So they want to fire either one of their ion torpedoes or both of their ion missiles into one gen, and then everybody else can dogpile the right gen to destroy it. Say one of your flex goes down, but you still have a flex and a support. You can still get the marks, and you still get a double disable. You still have an ion missile with the flex that's left over. You still have the ion lasers for the support. Or if you don't want to do that and you'd rather support get marks and then go straight for power while your bombers destroy the right shield, or whatever shield generator is not disabled by the flex, that is our other go-to. But typically, for us at least, the support is helping with those disables. If two of anyone goes down, say two flex goes down or a support and a flex go down, at that point you're probably pretty much scrubbed for your flagship attack, and the best that you can do is just destroy one shield generator. Just everybody dogpile the shield generator, get that shield generator to ensure that you're going to win the next phase. That's really the best you can do, unless the other team really makes a mistake on their farming or their raider burn. If something goes wrong, and giving you extra time, then you can work towards either disabling or destroying that other shield generator. That's kind of the overall blanket statement of an SOP for what randos follow. We have practiced that a number of times, and so we're ready if both flex can't make it in, or if one of the support, if the only support can't make it in, or if a flex and a support can't make it in. It's always going to be almost dogpiling that one shield generator, and then if we can get anything else out of that afterwards, we'll go for that. But as soon as those shield generators go down, and I believe I'm streaming on Discord here, so the best place to practice prepping an out of phase is in practice mode. No surprise there, it's really easy to set up. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to show you Some easy things that you can do. I know you have at least one Plasburst user, which it's very easy for a Plasburst X to strip the bottom back of the ISD. And that's what you're going to be doing. We'll go over the ISD first. Is that the old school way of doing it is you don't worry about the turrets. You just destroy the shield generators. You destroy power. You get crit points. And then you move to the back of the ISD. It's a relatively safe zone. Not a lot of turrets can reach you there. If you get too close, of course, the turbo lasers are going to rip you apart. But the shield, or I'm sorry, the engines are never destroyed, no matter how much you shoot them, no matter how much ordnance you put in them. So that's what used to happen when people would out of phase. They would just go straight to the back of the ISD and just shoot the engines until it's dead. The reason why people switch to out of phasing from the bottom is because there's a lot more surface area, and it's a lot harder for defenders to stop your ordnance from coming in because it's coming in from many different angles. It's coming in from multiple sources. It's a lot easier for your Y-wings to get angles, for your X-wing to get angles for their ordnance. So that's kind of why people switch to that. Now, granted that there is a lot that you can destroy. Like there's a hull plate everywhere. The hangar takes a lot longer to destroy, but if for whatever reason you basically have destroyed all of the hull plates, there's nowhere else to shoot, I would highly recommend just going to the back and then just shooting the engines. If that happens, it's not likely that happens, but you do want to make sure that you're shooting at the big engines. So an easy route, once those shields go down for the Plasburst, is just 1, 2, and you're just going in circles. 3, I think I'm going to miss this one here. I'm going to go slow. 4, and that one I already got. So that's your bottom back is already stripped just from one X-wing doing this little loop here. So it's a good way for the X-wings to get involved. That's typically what they want to do. They're already going to be towards the back anyway because they're going to be coming from this area over here. So it's really easy for them to dip down and just immediately start shooting those turrets here. And then while that's happening, ideally, this is all ideally, best case scenario, your Y-wing's going to be taking out the front turrets. And the best way to do that is have a Golo ready and have your lasers and have some room here. The first thing you want to shoot is your Golo into this set of 3 here. You want to see there's an ion laser right there, a turbo laser right there, and then the tractor beam right there. So you want to shoot your Golo about there. I wonder if I got it. Yeah, so I got the tractor beam, I got the ion laser. It doesn't show you as if like turret destroyed at the top right like it normally does, but that one is dead, that one is dead, that one is dead. So that's the best way to use your Golo, is to kind of shoot in those 3 here. There's another 3 right here. And that should take out the Golo, or I'm sorry, your Golo should take out the other tractor beam, which is dead right there, your turret right there, and then your ion laser right there. The only thing that's left is this turret right up front, and then you're pretty much prepped. I don't think I'm missing anything else. And that's everything. So you can see...
One question.
Sure.
What's the timing, or what we're currently or have been doing last season was that when we had an ISD attack, the Y-wings were going to the bottom and stripped it, both the front and back actually, and the support and X-wings went to the top to work on the shield chance. But from what you said, I assume it might actually be better in the beginning if everybody is first on the top, so the Y-wings can give some cover to the X-wings.
Yes, and that's what you're going to need to be ready for at, when you start playing upper group B, into group A, is that there's going to be a lot of disruption for your flex and your support. A lot of enemy teams, especially in Group A, are very good at shutting down that shield generator run. So it's not always going to be easy. So the Y-Wings should be the last ones in. I mean, they're the slowest ones on the map. So as they're burning that last frigate, it should be the Y-Wings that are burning the last frigate, because your flex want to be moving in early with your support to get the early marks, to get the early shield disable or destroy. So Y-Wings are typically going to be mopping up that last frigate when it's at, 4%, 3%. That's something to keep in mind, to let your flex know, hey, it's time to move in. And so after those Y-Wings destroy that frigate, they're moving in already back here anyway. They have those standard lasers, to kind of shoot and kind of bully the defenders. If you want to shoot a few multi-locks, you can, but save your Golos. Your Golos are the most important here, obviously for the shield strip. So you'll be coming in slower, and because of that, you'll be able to hear the call, whether your support needs help, whether your flex needs help, if they don't make it in, whatever, so that you can follow up quickly as far as, which shield generator needs to be destroyed, whether it needs to be left or right, whatever goes wrong. And then once that's done, just immediately set up that Golo, take out those tractor beams first with those Golo shots for both your Y-Wings, and then you just have this one to destroy. And then everything else is gravy. I mean, if you, by the time you strip the bottom turrets, power should probably be down, either from, an ion missile or your support's ion laser. If you have stripped the turrets at the bottom, Y-Wings are perfectly free to go and search for crit spots, or those hull breaches, whatever you want to call them. But after that, that's pretty much all you're going to have time for before the phase flips, and that's what I would anticipate, is that you get those shield gens, you get that bottom strip, maybe you get a crit spot or two, but after that, you're probably going to already be starting the out of phase, and it's a lot easier to get that out of phase when all of these turrets at the bottom are stripped. I don't know if you guys have practiced that at all. If for whatever reason you don't get a full strip, you should obviously prioritize the turrets that are not stripped yet, but you need to be a little bit more cautious, use a little bit more range, get away from the ISD a little bit more when you're trying to get those last few turrets that might be up. So again, there's one here, there's the two tractor beams right there, and then the turbo lasers on their flanks, followed by the ion turrets, which are just on the borders of the hangar. One in the middle, just in front of power, and then there's two on the backs of each of the wings, and that's it. As you can see, I'm still taking random pot shots. That's actually the turrets from the top shooting through the ISD. This game cheats, so even if it's fully stripped and you get super close, you will start taking shots, as I am here, just because the game knows, it sees that you're not looking, so it's cheating. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, I'm getting shot from the hangar, apparently. But that's basically how you set it up. So that's a good thing to practice in practice mode, because you can immediately just spawn in another one. You might die automatically, and then you can restart your run and just practice those loops. Let's see. Imperial is a little bit more straightforward, just because your defenders, your flex, your bombers typically don't have too much pressure going in, just because you're overall faster than any NR ship. Maybe the X-Wings will be able to keep up with their burst lasers, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. The only thing that might get a little bit of trouble is the Reaper. That's the most important ship to make it in. Let's see. And if the Reaper doesn't make it in, it's pretty much the same thing as the ISD. Your flex can double up on disable on the left or the right, and then your bombers can destroy the other one, or however you want to do it. It doesn't matter. So this might be a while, because you can't destroy these as fast with the TIE Fighter, but maybe I should have done it with Bomber. So bear with me here.
Tractor beam slowing me down.
Oh no, I got a huge lag spike there.
Missile coming my way.
TIE fighter's gonna die. So let's just get a new one out. That's the advantage of the Empire, right? Super cheap ships.
Disposable.
Tractor beam got me.
Okay. Once those go down, if you have a TIE fighter, you can do, you know, that bomb, the dive bomb that, you know, I kind of mentioned on power. But these are a little bit tricky. There's more turrets on the MC-75 top than there are the ISD. But let's see. There's, I believe that's the missile launcher. So there's one right there. There's 4 in the front. The nose. And I don't have shields, so I am getting chewed away here. And if you are a TIE fighter, this is another missile turret. One volley should be enough to destroy the turrets. As you can see with overcharged lasers, but I'm taking a ton of damage here just from the chip. Gonna do the same thing. Let's see. There are spots in which you can go low for bomber as well. Those kind of 3 that I just took out in quick succession that are kind of at the middle. There's also a spot in the back. Let's see. They're a lot easier to see actually when they're destroyed. Or maybe not. It's not as easy as the ISD for the Golos, but because you have just sheer amounts of laser power, it really doesn't matter. And it's a lot easier to out of phase the MC-75 in some cases than it is the ISD, because you don't have to have all of the turrets stripped on the MC-75 like you do the ISD, because it's a lot easier to set up a tether, which we need to talk about for the Empire specifically. So when we're talking about a tether, ideally it wants to be a TIE fighter, or maybe like a Plasburst Defender. You can do it in any ship, but the bombers are going to be your damage dealers. If you have a Plasburst user, they're really not going to be getting too close for out of phasing unless they're doing their own loops, but that doesn't help the rest of the team if they're doing, you know, basically these loops as a Plasburst Defender, if you know what I'm saying. Because you're getting the attention of the turrets from all over the ship versus the rest of your team wants to be directly above targeting so that only the top turrets are shooting you. And that's where you set up your tether. It's really easy. There's a lot of surface area to shoot. If you need to disable targeting, you can. But for out of phasing, and obviously this is a lot easier to do because I'm not, you know, I'm technically in phase as I'm doing this attack. But you basically just want to circle around targeting. And you want to make sure that you're not going out too far, because if I go out a little bit too far, these lasers right here and these lasers on the stem all over, you know, they're starting to open up. And when you're in the out of phase, that's really bad. You just want to minimize the surface area that you are looking at for the MC-75. I'm a little low here. If you look at the MC-75, you can see my distance tracker is at like 300. That's about where you want to be. It's around 300, 400, and you want to make sure that your teammates that are coming in from above, it's always above, always, always, always straight above. It should be looking like this. You never want to be off to the side again, because those turbo lasers over here will shoot you, the stuff in the stem, and they'll rip you apart. Because as your tether is set up, as long as they're the ones that is the original target and they're closest to the MC-75, the turrets will 9 times out of 10 only target the tether, which leaves your bombers, which leaves your other flex able to, you know, shoot their ordnance, shoot the crit spots that show up top. They can do whatever. They can roll slow in and make sure they're above the distance marker that, you know, your one tether is above. I said it was at 300, 400 meters. That allows you to move around quickly enough without being too close to the MC-75 where you're just getting auto hit. Because if I'm too close to the ISD, you're definitely going to get hit. Like here, now I'm getting really chipped away. You don't have time to move. But if I go up to about 300, 400, there's a lot more travel time, you know, for those lasers. So it's a lot harder to hit you. You're going to take damage a lot less. You'll still get chipped. The reason why I would say TIE Fighter is the best tether is because the ion lasers are the ones that are first to hit you. They're the fastest lasers, and TIE Fighters don't really care about ion lasers because they don't have shields. Let's see. And then, of course, if your tether gets a little low, your support can be flying just overhead to feed them resupplies if they do get a little bit too much chip damage. But they shouldn't be taking too much if they're doing it right. But I do know, you know, we're all human here. We make mistakes. And then just make sure that the rest of your team is above, you know, that 300, 400 mark. They're not closer to the MC-75, or else it will reprioritize to whoever is closest. So you just want to make sure that your bombers and your other flex are paying attention to that when the tether is calling out their distance about where they're hovering. And that's basically it. Like it's not all that difficult. It just takes a little bit of discipline to set up. The more turrets that you strip up top, obviously that'll make it easier for you, but it's not 100% necessary. It's a good thing to practice, but you know, when we're setting up a tether, my team doesn't really typically worry too much about the turrets on the MC-75. Okay, so let's set up a lobby here. And if you have any questions, obviously just, you know, blurt them out. I'm gonna be going like rapid fire here because it's pretty standard. It's just stuff that you'll have to be practicing on as a team. And let's see, is that, let's see, a flag run? That might be what we're talking about. But basically set up a mod set where, you know, you have like a 5-second, yeah, what is this? 5-second respawn, and then you can do SCL mods. These are SCL mods, but then put the frigates at like super weak. As you can see, make the frigates, make the raiders super weak, 0.1, all that, and then just leave your flagships as normal. It's a great way to practice. So let's see, what do we want to do this on? Yeah, Yevon, that's fine, I guess. Let's make it invite only, and then all of your team can jump in. It doesn't matter. So what you want to do is just practice going through those phases, getting the open, getting the let's see. Oops. Getting the frigates down, and then as soon as you start your flagship attack, you can practice taking out both shield gens and then stripping turrets. You can practice, you know, disable, destroy, double disable. You can practice destroy, destroy, and, you know, for whatever scenario, it's like, oh, let's say Shni doesn't make it in, let's say Silence doesn't make it in, you know, you can practice those scenarios. But then after that happens and you want to practice the out of phase, then you just want to suicide. You just want to crash into ships. You have a 5-second cooldown, so you can flip the phase. I know it's not, you know, ideal, but that's the fastest way that you can flip the phase so that you can actually practice the out of phase. So I'll just do a quick little run here. Okay, and I'm gonna need 2.
Hold out. We took down a raider.
That should do it. It'll obviously go a lot faster when you have all 5 of your team.
We pushed into their cruisers. Let's take down their defensive line. You've almost taken out that cruiser. Excellent. Imperial cruiser destroyed.
Okay, and then you do your run as normal.
Yep, they fired a missile at it. Ha! The Empire just lost their last cruiser. Great work, Vanguard.
Whoa, got a bit of a boost lock there. Okay, so there go shields, and then Flex would be going down here as normal. Oh, I missed that one.
Bad news. Corvette is down. Enemies locked on. Maybe next time.
Now, what you're gonna find is that when you're kind of stripping here, the ISD is gonna take a ton of chip damage, or passive, just naturally, which is okay. But that's basically when you do. And then whenever you're ready to practice that out of phase, you can just suicide in. And then you're back in 5 seconds. I'm not going to do this the whole time, but that's basically how you would set up your drill. And then you can practice however much you want to practice on the strip, on whatever. It's always funny because whenever you want to die by suicide, it takes forever. But then whenever you're just like flying normally and you just tap something, you bonk and die. And then you would do that basically until you flip, and then you can practice your out of phase. Now, when it comes to the Empire, a good thing to practice immediately. Let's see, is that all the way down at the bottom? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. You can all just practice a tether. You don't have to do any stripping or anything if you want. You don't even have to destroy the frigates. You can just go straight to the MC-75 to practice your tether. You can tether as the ISD, but you don't really need it. It's kind of weird. You see more tethering on the MC-75 than you do the ISD. I think that's because it's generally pretty easy to strip the turrets on the ISD, and teams are used to that. If you want to practice that, you can. It's the same deal. It's normally actually a U-wing that sets up the tether for the ISD, and you want to kind of be floating below power at, I think it's 400 or 500, maybe even 600 units for the distance, and it's the same thing. You're just kind of box drifting in circles, or multi-drifting, whatever you want to call it, shield skipping, whatever. And that's how you set it up. Actually, I haven't done this in a while, so I'll go straight to the MC-75 to kind of practice that tether. Okay, and as I said, you want to make sure you're approaching from the top, right above targeting here. It's a really easy big fin to see, and you kind of just want to spiral your way around. Okay, I forgot to target the MC-75, so I'm just going to use this turret. Okay, so you can see that the turrets in my window, they're targeting me for sure. But I'm at 400. I only just took a chip from the, yeah, it's a blue hit. But you see I'm just flying in circles and I'm not really taking any damage. taking a lot of shots there. The MC75 is starting to take on. You see, if you stay at 400, you're fine. You'll take a few ion laser shots because those are faster than the standard the standard lasers of the MC75. But you can basically do this indefinitely. You can do this from the start of the game if you wanted to, which was a whole debate. I'm even taking shots from the frigates, as you can see. I'm getting a bit of shunt lag, which is interesting, but it's fine, no matter. So if I start dipping below 400, going into 300, taking a lot more shots, see if I can get lower. 200. Yeah, see how much damage I'm taking now that I'm below 300? So you want to make sure that you're staying at about 400. The 400 is the safest, but it also allows you to be the closest so that you can provide that for your team. And obviously you have to be good at, shunt charging, managing your energy for the TIE fighter, but just stay above and you can stay there indefinitely, and then you can practice that. And then your team is free to shoot. Oh, we had a player come in here. But that's basically how it's done as far as the out of phasing. So let's see here. I'll create another lobby, and then we can at least let's see. Oh, that was quick. Yeah, we're only at half hour here, but it's pretty straightforward. So let me create a lobby and you guys can jump in and we can practice this MC75. You can practice and I'll be the tether so you know what it feels like, to have that tether set up and being able to stay above 400 units of distance and just, fire freely. So let's set that up here. Gavin. We'll do BSS for the password. And then we'll do a run here. And that will pretty much be it. Any questions while we're kind of loading in here? Perfect. No questions. We're going to do it flawlessly on this first time.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So at the MC, you said it has a bit 400, and the ISD, it sounded like it's a bit further.
Yes, so depending on the ship, it depends on the ship for whoever is going to be setting up the tether. So in this case, the TIE fighter can sit around, high 300s, the 400s. They can be a little bit closer because they don't care about ion lasers. If it's like a defender, if it's a bomber, if it's a reaper that has to tether, I'd recommend around 600, 700, which is, much further. You probably could get down maybe to 500 if you're good, if you have multi-drifting, if you have good power management, but you will be taking ion laser shots for sure. For the MC75, I think the U-Wing can stay around 600, 700. Same with the X-Wing. The Y-Wing, the Y-Wing shouldn't be tethering, but if it has to, it's going to be closer to around 800 probably, just because they're the slowest. So take whatever ship you like, doesn't matter. And what we're going to be doing, it's going to take a minute, is to just get through the frigates, get through the open, get through the frigates, which won't take long. They're very squishy, this mod said. And then we'll suicide to do the out of phase, to set up the out of phase. We don't even have to strip any turrets. And then once you see me set up to the tether, way above the MC75, once I have it, I will let you guys know where I'm sitting on the distance, and then you just make sure that you're above that, and you should be able to shoot at the MC75 freely. If you find that your tether is set up and it's not shooting your tether, say not everybody makes it above the MC75 in time, sometimes a few of the lasers will be targeting, the Reaper or the Bomber that's trying to get more further away. Just keep gaining distance. Just keep flying up above the MC75. Increase your distance until those lasers, drop their targeting on you and then target your tether. It's important that the MC75 is shooting at your tether before you even start anything else.
What is
the password again?
BSS.
Titan 2 at the ready.
You might be thrown on NR here, just because there's no one on NR at this time.
Claim another victim yonder today. Annihilate them.
So let's just flip the open and burn through the frigates real fast here.
This is it. 9. That area is highly dangerous right now. You need to fall back. They got a lock on me.
Alright, and then just burn through the frigates.
Corvette eliminated. Good work. Enemy frigates in range. Destroy them so we can advance on the MC-75. Maintain this pressure and the enemy won't stand a chance.
Realistic Empire lasers.
Enemy
Alright.
destroyed.
Okay, now we don't have to do anything other than just suicide. If there is a Y-Wing on the other side, I think I saw, go ahead and farm a bit.
I am farming.
Yeah, to flip that phase for us. Or you can destroy the Raider. Raider's super squishy. Perfect. That should do it. All right.
Unradiating fast.
All right. Now that we have flipped the phase, just let me know when everybody's back in. You should be coming back in pretty much instantly.
Yep.
All right. So how we're going to travel over to the MC-75, this is just for convenience sake. I'm going to get far, far above it. Above targeting. And then we'll just wait for everyone to come in, and then we will practice that out of phase here. Now the shields are still up. Of course, you want to burn through shields, you can do that. But in this case, we're just gonna go over how to set up that tether. And then let's see, who do we have? Do we have everyone here above the MC?
Yeah, I'm above.
I
Like,
see
pretty far
one,
above.
see 1, 2. Okay, I do see 4 of us here. All right, so stay above, well above 1,000. The turrets have already started opening up on somebody. Not sure who that is.
Me, I think.
Okay, so go ahead and back off. I'll try and set up this tether here.
Oh,
Okay, so the tether is on me now for sure, and I'm sitting at about 400, 500. So stay above that, and then just shoot the MC-75.
Enemy missile inbound.
And make sure you're staying above 400 units for your distance, or else the MC-75 will target you. If you go out too far to the side, it will also target you. So make sure you're just staying directly above it.
That was close.
Have you guys been taking any fire?
Missile inbound.
not really.
I see a couple of you that are below 400, so just watch yourself. Nice. Looks like the
They're locking up.
I think Fonda, I think you're a little bit low and you're off to the right. So you want to make sure that you're above. And obviously we're just whittling down at the MC here. The shields are still up, but she would be firing into Hall. But as far as, bombers, the flex that are staying, as long as you're staying above that 400, you shouldn't be taking any damage, and I haven't taken any damage either. And this is basically what you do. So once you take down those shield gems, you can, practice, suiciding or flipping, and then practicing this setting up the tether. Oops, got a bit of a boost lock there.
They fired a missile. Watch it there.
Okay, shields are down. But this is basically it. Like, is there anybody having any issues or like they're taking a lot of damage?
Nope. Oh, fuck.
If you are, just make sure, I'm still floating at about the high 400s, so make sure you're just staying at, you know, 500 or above.
Great.
Shields went back up, but this is basically the out of phasing. Once shields go down, obviously it'll go into all, so this isn't, you know, 100% how it is, but this is how it'll feel for your tether. You should be able to shoot freely above the MC75, only above, and you shouldn't be taking, you should be taking minimal damage. Maybe you'll take a stray shot or two, but your tether should be taking the brunt of it. Shni went down there, maybe got out a little bit too far.
I have a feeling I was quite above, but yeah.
Are you off to the side?
Yeah, must have been.
Okay, yeah, do be careful. You do have to be directly above the MC75. Or else those turbo lasers will be targeting you.
That was close.
But anyway, we don't have to do this forever. You know, this will take forever if if we sit here. So, but that's basically how you set up a tether, and I'll kind of show you. Let's see here. I'll show you a proper, you know, kind of entrance here, and then that's probably all I'll have time for. So let me set up. Set up another lobby here. Okay. Alright, so to properly set up the tether for the MC75, set that up here. You're basically going to toilet bowl your way down towards targeting until you reach your desired distance, and then you'll just boost drift in a circle. It's not exciting, but that is how it's done and how you're safely going to be able to approach it. Because if you go, of course, if you go directly at the out of phase, it's going to rip you apart. You know, so you want to make sure that you're corkscrewing towards the MC75 as you're making your way down. You want to make sure that your rhythm is consistent and even, or else you're going to slowly drift off to the side of the MC75, and those, you know, those turbo lasers are going to rip you apart here. So just something to keep in mind when you're practicing your out of phases. Again, just make sure you're stripping the shields, destroying both shield generators, or I would just recommend practicing destroying both of them just for the sake of this. Obviously, you would be doing your disable destroy or double disable. But just for the sake of practicing your out of phase, you know, just destroy them both and then flip the phase so that you can practice your out of phase. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So if you guys can master these setting up the out of phasing and then doing it very consistently, it's going to take you really far. And I promise you that, because there's still most teams in Group A, at the top of Group A, like that don't set this up properly and they end up losing because of it. So it's definitely something that you want to be practicing consistently so that you guys are very comfortable with being in any scenario, you know, whatever the personnel is, and being able to set up these out of phases so that you can just win before the enemy team, you know, faster than a defense would be. And even if you do flip it on the fast defense, they might just out of phase. So it's always good to set up that out of phase here and practice that consistently. I promise you it's going to win you a lot of games. Okay.
Do you want us to flip so you can auto-phase?
Oh no, I'm just going to show you this from my point of view. If you want to
Okay.
practice it, setting up the tether. So here I am, well above 1,000, above targeting. And so I can begin my approach. I'm kind of just corkscrewing down. And make sure you're bouncing often. Okay, I'm at 500. 400. Okay, 300. So I'm at my distance. I'm a little bit low, so I'm going to get a little bit higher.
Enemy locked on.
And that's basically how you get into position for the tether safely. Without taking any damage. And then practice getting out. Same thing, if you need to get out, say your whole team dies, they get too low or they go off to the side, just corkscrew away slowly, and then when you're at about 1,500, should be close to out of range of those lasers, and so you're safe, and then you can wait for your team again, and then same thing, you just corkscrew back in. Back into position. Taking a few ion laser shots, but it's not really a big deal. And that's how you set up a tether.
When you go to this 400 distance, how, like, what are your best targets to yeah?
So
Is it
yeah, I'm targeting the whole ship here. But you can do any reference point. You can do. I would recommend either the whole ship, or like targeting itself, or a turret that's up top, like right here. That should be enough. Obviously, you don't want to target one of the shield generators. You don't want to target what is it, power? That's way far below, so your distance is going to be off. So I'd recommend either a turret up top that's shooting you by either selecting, target my attacker, or if you want to just target the whole ship, that's kind of what I'm using as my reference point. Okay. But you can, as kind of demonstrated here, you can, I'm getting off to the side here. Yep, here's the shots.
They fired a missile. Just praise me.
If you're doing this in a TIE fighter, is it worth maybe taking a repair kit?
If you want, yeah. If you know that you're going to be out of phasing, and it's do or die, and you happen to be in a hangar as the tethered TIE fighter, you can take a repair kit. It's not really necessary, especially if your Reaper is up. They can just throw you some resupplies if things are looking a bit grim. But realistically, you're not going to have that loadout ready when you're doing, you're out of phase. But it is an option, yeah.
Okay.
But that's basically all I have for you as far as, practicing. I would like to get some, I don't have any more time, but I would like to get some film of you guys practicing this. And then if you're having trouble with like setting up your tether, if you're having trouble with, your position as far as out of phasing and you're taking damage, you don't know why, just shoot me those VODs, and, we can go over it together. I can do like a reply video or whatever, but I'd be happy to help you guys out, because this is still a skill that entire teams have not mastered, and it's extremely, extremely important, because realistically, you have your attack, you take down a frigate, you get your out of phase, you have your defense, and then you take down the second frigate, and then you go and destroy your single shield generator. That's typically all you have time for. That's generally the pacing of Group A games, is to, on that second attack, you need to be able to destroy a shield generator. If you can set up an out of phase and get it by then, you're pretty much going to win guaranteed. Obviously, you get anything more, you're going to win. But most of the times it comes down to 3 attacks. So that's kind of the pacing of it. If you can really capitalize on that second attack as far as getting the shield generator, and then stripping the turrets on the bottom, you're very likely to win. If you can kind of practice up to that pace. I would expect that pace, from top teams that are setting up out of phases properly. But not every team does that, as you know. if you go back in any game in Group A, it's mostly going to be, you know, a 3-phase attack. It's not too often that you will see 2-phase attacks to win. So it's still a skill that is developing currently, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing for that, you know, teams are still improving, they're still getting better. But that is all I have for today. I know I threw a lot at you, so please, you know, I'll have this video up for review. You know, I can do mechanics, I can do like approach angles, whatever you need. But I didn't want to take up too much of your guys' time. I just want to give you the best kind of overall what you should be doing, how you should be properly setting this up, some ideas as far as what you want to be doing with your Golos, what you want to be doing with your Plasburst user or your TIE Fighter, or, you know, what have you. So is there any questions before I let you guys go? I know this wasn't as much of a, you know, back and forth, but I do want to respect the time here.
Oh, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
Really interesting. And I don't have any more questions right now. I think we'll try to practice a bit, and we might run into some questions then.
Yeah, of course. And remember, when you're practicing, when you're doing your team practices, you're doing your drills, just remember to set those frigates to super squishy, set the raiders super squishy, and then leave your flagships the same, and then the respawn timer to 5 seconds so you can quickly you know, flip that phase and do whatever. But other than that, that's pretty much out of phasing. So I will let you guys go. I'll get this video uploaded, and then as you guys are practicing, please send me the VODs, especially if you're having trouble or if you're not sure what's going on, just let me know. All right?
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
All right, awesome. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too, buddy.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.